Introduction. Building product-led content means using in-app guides, documentation, tutorials, and community support to help new users onboard and find value quickly. The goal is to guide people to their aha moment, the point where they see the product's benefit, as fast as possible. If users reach value quickly, they stay longer. For example, AppQues notes that the longer your time to value, the more customer turnover you'll see. In other words, slow onboarding leads to churn. Good product-led content helps users activate and succeed inside the product, reducing churn and speeding up growth. Figure. Contextual content like tooltips or guides helps users learn features inside the product. Image credit Unsplash. Key content channels. Effective product-led content uses multiple formats that work together. Documentation. Docs. Detailed written guides or knowledge-based articles. Good docs explain features step by step and answer common questions. They are important for users who want detailed instructions. Well-indexed docs mean users spend less time stuck and more time using the product. In-app guides and tutorials. Interactive walkthroughs, tooltips, checklists, or pop-up tutorials inside the product itself. For example, an in-app checklist might prompt a user to complete key setup steps. These guides show users where to go next in the moment. According to AppQues, onboarding elements like checklists and tooltips can gently guide users towards their aha moment. In-app tutorials keep new users engaged and reduce confusion. Standalone tutorials and training. Organized tutorials, videos are written that teach broader workflows. These might live on your website or community site. They help users learn by example. For instance, how to set up your first project with our tool. Tutorials support users who prefer learning by doing. Community answers and forums. Peer and company-run Q&A forums or communities, like discussion boards or chat. When users have questions that docs don't cover, they often turn to community answers. Strong community support means users quickly find solutions, which keeps them moving forward. Each channel reinforces the others. A user might start with an in-app guide, dive deeper into docs for details, and ask community questions for help with edge cases. Together, these content channels cover the whole user journey. Integrating content with product analytics. To see if your content is working, integrate it with product analytics. Track how users interact with content and product features. Instrument events for content usage. For example, record when a user views a doc page or completes an in-app guide step. Correlate content use with product milestones. Do users who read a certain tutorial activate faster? Analytics can show this link. If many new users exit the app before completing activation, check if they visited a specific doc or asked a community question first. That reveals content gaps. Use cohort analysis to split users into meaningful groups. For example, group users by sign-up week or by version of onboarding they saw. Then compare their activation and retention. Segmenting this way gives you a clearer picture of how users interact with your product. By tracking cohorts from sign-up through activation, teams can identify which onboarding flows convert best and which features drive engagement. For instance, if one sign-up cohort used a new in-app guide and had a higher activation rate than an earlier cohort, that's a strong signal the guide helped. Updating content with releases and telemetry. Make content updates part of your regular release workflow. Whenever a new feature or UI change is shipped, also plan content tasks, version docs and guides. Keep documentation and in-app help updated in tandem with code. For each release, update any affected docs, tutorials, and in-app texts. Use a docs as code process, so writers can work in the same repository or sprint as developers. Telemetry-driven updates. Use product telemetry to spot stale or missing content. For example, if analytics show a new flow has low completion, or if users frequently search the docs for a topic, schedule a doc or guide update. If support tickets or community questions spike about a particular feature, add a tutorial or FAQ. Feedback loops. After shipping, review content metrics. Did users read the updated doc? Did activation metrics improve? Iterate quickly. In practice, teams often maintain a content backlog synchronized with product roadmaps. This ensures content evolves naturally with the product, and that new releases are paired with fresh instructions and help. Activation metrics and cohorts. Choose metrics that reflect onboarding success. Common activation metrics include activation rate, the percentage of new users who complete a defined aha event, like setting up an account or using a core feature. For example, activation rate equals activated users divided by new users. This metric keeps onboarding honest by measuring if users actually reach the milestone. Time to value, TTV, how long it takes a user to reach that first success. Measure median and high percentile, e.g. 90th percentile TTV. Shortening TTV is crucial. AppQs points out that if users don't see value fast, they're likely to feel that their time is being wasted. Fast TTV means activated users stay engaged. Funnel completion and drop-offs. Track step-by-step funnel conversions during onboarding. For instance, if there is a 5-step setup, measure how many users get to each step. High drop-off at a step may indicate confusing flow or missing content. Retention and engagement. Early retention, e.g. day 1 or day 7 retention, often improves when activation is strong. Track these by cohort, e.g. users who signed up in January versus February. Defining activation clearly is important. One guide describes activation as when a new user reliably reaches a meaningful outcome, their first value moment, and becomes likely to return. Use analytics to define that outcome, e.g. first project created or first report run, and measure it as above. Experiments to reduce time to value. Once metrics are in place, run experiments to drive faster activation. A/B test content flows. Try different onboarding sequences or guide designs for subsets of users. For example, Group A sees a step-by-step checklist. Group B sees a short video tutorial. Measure which group hits the activation metric faster. Even simple A/B tests, like changing the text on a call to action, can yield insights. Personalization tests. Use user segment personalization. For instance, a tutorial that addresses a user's role or industry, like showing finance-related tips to a finance user, can boost relevance. In fact, one case study showed that personalizing onboarding content led to a 5 to 10% increase in activation and retention. Build an experiment around it by comparing generic versus personalized flows. Streamlining steps. Remove or rearrange mandatory steps to see if activation improves. For example, if profile setup isn't essential for first use, test removing it from the initial flow. Then check analytics to see if more users activate quicker. Use triggers and nudges. Try different ways to prompt users. AppQ suggests that tools like behavioral emails or in-app ticks help generate excitement and momentum while guiding users towards their aha moment. You could experiment with sending a friendly reminder email versus an in-app pop-up to a user who hasn't finished onboarding. Each experiment should measure the impact on your chosen metrics, e.g. activation rate or TTV. For instance, when Pinterest optimized onboarding by surfacing trending topics and language-specific help, their new user activation rose by about 5 to 10%. Iterate based on data. Double down on what works and retire what doesn't. Conclusion: product-led content is a powerful way to improve onboarding, activation, and expansion. By aligning documentation, in-app guides, tutorials, and community help with product data, teams can pinpoint what users need and when. Tying content updates to releases and telemetry keeps help relevant, while tracking activation metrics and cohorts shows the big picture. Most importantly, running experiments on onboarding content, from checklists to personalization, helps you learn what really shortens the path to value. In sum, investing in integrated product content pays off in faster activation, higher retention, and more engaged users. All links to sources are available in the text version of this article. You can find the full article at autopod.co.